people. Another beautiful day. Yeah. Hope your 5 senses work. Hope your health and strength is good. What? Stay safe out here in this COVID world, man. It's a world we live in now. Yeah. What's up? Look. So Ubuntu is getting serious about gaming, huh? Alright. So the reason they're doing this to me is because, you know, the Steam Deck is in the news a lot, and Valve is using Arch Linux, and Arch Linux is supposed to have an updated version of Arch Linux 3.0. And when Ubuntu came out, it was a talk of the town, but you know, they fell asleep at the wheel, so to speak. You know, not working on the infrastructure, not taking gaming seriously, and not taking care of their user base by listening to them. You know, so you know, in today's video game market, you know, it's about infrastructure, it's about network, it's about features, and you know, you gotta listen to your user base. You know, if you want to succeed in this video game world. You know, I think Phil Spencer said it best over at Microsoft. You know, sales ain't the end all be all to video games. So true. So you know, when it comes to this video game stuff, you know, you gotta have an infrastructure and a network of today to run the games of tomorrow, to keep up with the times. You know, because these games, they're big, you're open world, and you know, you got your online play is very serious and competitive in today's time. So you got to take care of your network. But anyway, says here, Ubuntu is getting serious about gaming. Can Ubuntu reclaim its gaming crown based on a new job opening added to its career page? Canonical think so. Ubuntu chief sponsor is recruiting a Linux desktop gaming product manager whose job will be to make Ubuntu the best Linux desktop for gaming. That means they got to mend some. They were burning bridges, so now they got to mend some fences. That's what it means. Anyway, said we work with partners in the Silicon world to ensure the latest graphics drivers and tweaks are built in for optimal frame rates and latency, as well as with partners in gaming industry to ensure that mechanisms such as anti-cheat capabilities are available to ensure fairness and product availability. The listing explained. Anti-cheat. Where did I hear that from? That would be the Steam Deck, huh? That would be Valve. So that means Valve was using them. It means that Valve was using Ubuntu before, and you know, Ubuntu wasn't trying to change its ways, so Valve probably decided to give up Ubuntu. But anyway, and went to Arch Linux. It says here, when Steam for Linux debuted in 2012, Ubuntu was Valve recommended Linux distro for gamers wanting to thumb flex with Tux. Indeed, at the time, Ubuntu was the recommended distro for pretty much else too. Today, Ubuntu is not considered the premier choice for Linux gaming. That means they weren't taking care of their users, and they weren't taking care of their network. Yep. Anyway, and they weren't updating their network. Anyway, it says user increasingly turn to rolling release Linux distro like Arch as they deliver Linux kernel and graphics drivers updates more frequently. They also tend to provide easier access to experimental apps and recruiting edge features that assist gaming and or gaming streaming. Yes, I mean streaming is good in today's gaming world, but in order to stream, you got to have an infrastructure with a network, and you got to have all drivers in place for that to work. Anyway, plus you got to have good cameras and stuff like that. But anyway, it says here Ubuntu has tried to counter some of its relative deficiencies in the gaming area over the years. We have seen developer outreach initiative, graphic centric, PPA, and lots to community marketing. However, even this had dried up in recent years. Says fact is for users having to sift through forums, threads, add PPAs, and install unsupported kernels. Just the game isn't an attractive proposition. That means the Ubuntu developer is supposed to be taking care of that instead of the gamers. The drivers are supposed to be already in place so they can be ready to play. Anyway, it says not when they can install Pop OS, which now comes with the latest Linux kernel and graphics drivers, or Manjaro, and have most of that effort done for them. See what I mean? Says here, Valve clearly agrees. 2, it chose Arch as the base for Steam OS 3.0, the software that will power its upcoming and hugely in-demand Steam Deck handheld gaming PC. Anyway, says, so why is Canonical suddenly interested in gaming? Because Valve is because once Valve used to use them before, and then Valve switched over to Arch Linux. Yeah, you never appreciate something until it's gone, huh? All right. After all, a few years back, it was content to break Steam entirely, and only backpedals following a huge backlash. Mir didn't exactly endear the OS to GPU vendors and games developers, and the insistence on Snap as primary packaging mechanism continues to put people off. Weren't taking care of your consumers, huh? Alright, you'll learn. Anyway, says here, I do wonder if recent YouTube dramas involving big name channels exploring Linux gaming have made Canonical aware of how absent it is. Yeah, that means it wasn't keeping up with the times, so to speak. They wasn't on Ubuntu wasn't on their A game. Anyway, when it comes to video games, none of the influencers currently making headlines, be them good or bad, are using Ubuntu. That's not good. That means Ubuntu infrastructure needs some work. Yeah, and that manager gonna have to mend fences and keep their word and be consistent and the whole nine. Anyway, where it says that the distro is just not in the conversation around Linux gaming, and that's quite profound. So Ubuntu dedicated desktop gaming manager is going to have a busy time ahead of them. Yeah. First working on the infrastructure, and then mending fences with the gamers, and then mending fences with vendors, then mending fences with developers. That's what the job come with. Anyway, says here, amongst their tasks, they will need to introduce better desktop graphics choice in Ubuntu. Expand on rebuild partnerships, like I just said, with graphics vendors and gaming studios. And lead an engineer effort that can put Ubuntu back in people's mind when thinking about gaming. Think you got what it takes? You can check out the role in more detail on Canonical's career site. End of the article. So this job is about mending fences. First of all, fixing home base, fixing the network, keeping taking gaming seriously, installing new drivers, coming up with new graphics, mending fences with your user base. That's number one. And then mending fences with the vendors. That's number two. And then mending fences with the developers. So that's what the job entails. Not a bad job, but communicate. The name of the game is communication. That's what this job is all about. Communication. Communicating with east, west, north, and south. That's what the job is about. So if you're good at communicating, good at reasoning, good at having sympathy and compassion, then this job is for you. So yeah, that's what this job entails. But Ubuntu, the engineers at Ubuntu, they they got some infrastructure work to do, and then they got some work outside the infrastructure, meaning the users, the vendors, and developers, and try to get back in line far as gaming is concerned. Now the question is, are you up for that job? Are you good at that? Can you keep your word? Can you reason? Can you show empathy? Can you show compassion? Can you keep a deadline? And can you be on time? Yeah, that's what a job is, okay? If you're good at that, then that job is for you. Oh yeah, and I'm pretty sure it pays good too. Anyway, what we'll do is just leave a link in the description box with this article. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing, or Dark Side. Go. Peace.